Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Will and Owen Show. I'm your host, Will Leyland.
And I'm your co-host, Owen LeBlanc.
Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into William Shakespeare's Macbeth, specifically Act 5, Scenes 6 through 8, which is where the play reaches its climax and everything finally unravels for Macbeth.
Yeah, this is basically the part where things stop going well for him. Like, really not well. So, what's the general rundown here, and who's involved?
Let's start with in Scene 6. In this scene, Malcolm's army, including Macduff, young Seward, and several soldiers, approach Macbeth's castle at Dunsinane. As they move closer, Malcolm orders his men to drop the branches they were using as camouflage, revealing the true size of their army.
So they just walk up pretending to be trees, then go, surprise? That's kind of funny, but why does it actually matter?
Actually, it matters a lot. When the soldiers throw down the branches, it fulfills the witch's prophecy that Birnam Wood would move to Dunsinane. This moment exposes Macbeth's false sense of security and proves that the witch's words were misleading and not protective.
Alright, fair enough. Scene 6 is short though. Let's go to Scene 7 where the fighting actually starts. This is when a young Seward runs into an extremely overconfident Macbeth who starts bragging about how no man born of woman can kill him, and basically tells Seward he doesn't stand a chance.
That's a very bold statement. What do you think it reveals about Macbeth's view of gender?
Yeah, so basically Macbeth thinks he's untouchable because of prophecy, but the way he says it also shows that he's connected being woman-born with weaknesses, which really shows how arrogant and honestly messed up his thinking has become.
So, what ends up happening to young Seward? Is he able to defeat Macbeth?
No, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, young Seward is killed, but his death isn't pointless because it pushes Macduff even further at this point. Macduff is locked in on Macbeth and ignores everything else on the battlefield.
Wow. Do you think it matters that Macbeth's final victims are mostly young people like young Seward?
Yeah, definitely. It shows that Macbeth targets weaker, younger characters to feel powerful. It really highlights how desperate he's become and how much of a character he's degraded.
Yeah, exactly. Macbeth's behavior is definitely becoming more increasingly frustrating. Is Macduff ever able to confront him directly?
Yes, in Scene 8, Macduff tracks down Macbeth. They argue, and Macbeth keeps repeating the same thing. He can't be killed by anyone born of woman. Then Macbeth drops the bomb I say, and says that he was born by a C-section, not a natural birth.
Exactly. This completely destroys Macbeth's confidence, and on top of that, Macduff even tells him that many of his soldiers have even turned against him. This loss of confidence directly leads to Macbeth being defeated and even beheaded in battle.
Well, to be honest, he didn't really have it coming, but before he dies, why does Macbeth complain that the juggling friend spoke to him in a double sense? And how did Shakespeare use this quote to create the meaning?
Well, here, Macbeth is referring to the three witches. He realizes too late that they deceived him by using language that sounded reassuring, but was actually very misleading. These false promises gave him confidence that collapsed the moment the truth was actually revealed by Macduff. Shakespeare used that specific quote to really create meaning by the use of something called equivocation.
Wow, honestly that's very interesting, Will. Do you think Malcolm's army struggled?
Well, the play doesn't directly say, but personally, I think the ending suggests otherwise. When Malcolm is crowned, everyone chants, "Hail, King of Scotland!" And Shakespeare specified that all replied. And trumpets are also heard.
So if people are alive to yell and play trumpets, things probably didn't go too bad for his army, huh?
Exactly what I'm thinking. And to me, that implies many of the soldiers survived, suggesting that the battle wasn't especially difficult for Malcolm's forces.
Well, that just about wraps it up. But one more thing. Overall, do you think the main theme of the play is?
I believe that the main theme of this play is the downfall and the consequences of tyranny and overambition. This is clearly displayed in the final act, where Macbeth begins as what seems like an invincible superpower, but eventually crumbles.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more, if you will. And thank you guys for listening, and make sure to let us know with a raise of hands if you think Macbeth's outcome is deserved or completely irrational. Peace.